shit, man. Fuck's sakes, man. I should have read the thing.
We gotta get you a mic, dude. True story, because your mic sucks ass. We should just get one from freaking Walmart tomorrow. Just go to Wally World. Alright, let's go. What the fuck?
We died, babe.
Oh!
Oh my god, babe. All that skinning.
Oh, fuck, we gotta do that again?
Taramis, babe.
This area is the most dangerous of any area I've been in. This is legit terrifying. Why am I here? Why am I dying here? This is not good. Oh, I could just skip this part then. Yeah, why am I doing it right now? This is a terrible idea. No!
And I just think somebody needs to fucking talk to him and be like, yo, you can't act like this. You can't treat people like this.
Buff, are you like in the army or something, man?
Yes, I'm an army reservist.
Really, bro? Do you know how to handle the M4A1?
Yes, I do. I qualified on it multiple times.
Really?
Why-
What's up?
Hi, what's up?
That's the question.
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
Have
but
you
that
ever-
doesn't
have you-
count, bro.
What doesn't count?
Somebody just dropped Infernals on Peyo's head.
Oh.
No, but what's like?
I was wondering what he was screaming about. I was like, I mean, yeah, I've shot an M4 before.
Shackle the gargoyle if it gets you.
Yeah, I will.
We
The
should
diamonds?
LOS all the way behind this wall. We should LOS all the way behind the wall and heal Jim.
Oh shit, fuck.
Run.
I'm netted, I'm netted. No, help me get out, help me get out.
Where are you?
Yo, help me get out. I really need help.
Hey, you're talking shit.
Healing. Oh.
Fuck me, guys.
Dude.
Instagram ya está en Sirena. Te quiero mostrar en este video todo lo que te permite hacer Sirena integrando el canal de Instagram en tu negocio. Ahora no solo vas a poder integrar tus canales de WhatsApp para negocios y Facebook Messenger, sino también todas tus conversaciones de Instagram.
La integración de Sirena te permite responder a todos los mensajes directos de Instagram y a los mensajes que llegan como respuestas de tus historias. Con Sirena podrás configurar un bot de respuestas automáticas que te permitirá darle
Sneak Scalpers. Alright, you can FD.
I'm stunned. Oh my god. You see that?
He's gonna kill my pet and then he's gonna come for you. Sneak Scalpers. Alright, you can FD.
I'm stunned. Oh my god. You see that?
He's gonna kill my pet and then he's gonna come for you.
They're so close.
Lucas, you had 10%, man.
Alright, it's coming now.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't get the chest. Was there one back there? Ah, oh, fuck it. Whatever. That's dumb of me. I completely forgot about it. The only reason I don't want to log out and do the bag thing right now is if there is somebody moving a dragon and they know I'm streaming, I don't want to log out and oh! I'm dead.
Oh. Oh. Holy shit, I don't know. Alright, boys.
Where are these herbs? Is it up top? Oh god. Holy shit. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, is this it? Is this where I bite it? Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna bite it right here. I'm gonna bite it. Yep. Oh no. That was it, man. That was it. Shit. Oh man. Fuck. Oh.
Fuck, I'm dead. I'm not. I think I holy fuck. What? Please tell me don't go up here. Holy fuck. What? Monk of fuck? I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. No way. No way. Dodge. Dodge. Please. 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 Manage. Miss. Doge.
Another lava spawn.
Oh shit, go.
Yeah, go out.
Let's go
out.
This is scary, boys.
This is fucking nice.
Is everyone out?
Yeah, I'm out. There's some people taking damage.
Oh!
Oh! We went out too fast. I bumped someone else. Holy shit, Kiko died.
Was still the surger.
The cursed run.
We can go back in.
Yeah, we can go back in.
Nice.
Who is the next rogue?
Nice. Somebody died already.
new raid encounters, learning new mechanics, seeing the team come together after so much trial and error, and seeing the boss's HP slowly whittling down to 0%. The elation when the boss finally dies. That is such a great feeling. Now, when it comes to Final Fantasy XIV, I had some experience playing it back when A Realm Reborn and Heavensward first came out, but I didn't really commit to the game until Shadowbringers.
Okay.
You know, after Shadowlands had completely demotivated me from playing World of Warcraft anymore.
I can relate.
Unfortunately, when I got into Final Fantasy XIV, Shadowbringers had already been out, so I didn't get to experience the expansion fresh, or how raid progression felt. The groups I did get into, for the Extremes and Savages, they were groups that already knew the encounters. As I'm sure you are aware, going through an encounter with a group that already knows what to do is a very different experience than going into an encounter that has yet to be learned.
Yeah, I know that.
With Endwalker out, I finally got the chance to see what progression is like when all the content is fresh, when everyone is blind and has to learn the fights. What it's like to get the required gear to even get into the harder content.
I'm actually really curious about
With
this.
that, let's compare how Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft do raid progression.
Okay. Getting men eye level.
The first thing you have to do at the start of an expansion in both games is get to the minimum item level to do. Well,
guys, stop making fun of his voice and shit like that. Yeah, it's childish. It's weird. Like, I'll tell you something, okay? My channel is not a haven for you to be hostile or vitriolic or insult people. If you are insulting people on their appearance or being rude to them, know that you run the risk of being banned. We do not do this here at all. You can make fun of me, but that's it.
You know, the harder content. In World of Warcraft's case, it's to queue up for heroics, to get the gear to queue up for looking for raid. And you also will need gear for anyone to consider inviting you to a party for raiding and mythic pluses. And in Final Fantasy XIV's case, it's the minimum item level to queue up for the extreme trials, the raids, and also some endgame dungeons.
Okay.
I just wanted to start off by saying this is in relation to the start of an expansion. Things will change as the expansion goes on.
Yeah.
In World of Warcraft, it can take a very long time to get the gear you need to run the content you want. As an
does it anymore? I feel like it kind of does, but it's probably not as bad.
Example, to queue up for the heroic dungeons, I remembered running a friend through the normal dungeons for hours to get his item level high enough for the heroics.
It is a long time. Yeah.
When the expansion first came out, there was no currency you got that you could exchange for gear. So it was really up to the RNG gods for getting your item level up. In Final Fantasy XIV, by the time I hit level cap, I was already within 5 item levels to being able to queue up for the extreme trials. The game flat out gives you 5 pieces of high item level gear from just doing the MSQ, filling out your left side of the equipment screen. And then it's just a matter of getting some gear for the right side. You know,
I feel like gear isn't really as big of a factor in Final Fantasy in general. I feel like you don't really play the game for gear. It's more that like the experience. Like gear is basically just a check mark that you do. Gear is just glam. Yeah, it's skill based. Pretty much that's what it seems. Obviously, like whenever there's a huge difference. Like if you do something, I remember we did King Thordan. Without min eye level and like no echo, there were no mechanics whatsoever. So like it does make a difference. Absolutely, but it needs to be a big difference.
Rings and necklaces and stuff of that nature. It's pretty quick to run a few dungeons to fill those out. And if you are supremely unlucky with the RNG, you always get the tombstones that you can then exchange to fill in that gear. I've now leveled up 3 jobs to level cap in Final Fantasy XIV.
That's a lot.
All of which require different gear sets, and they are all at the minimum item level to get into the extremes and normal mode raids.
God
and
damn.
it really didn't take all that long to get to that item level. Now, obviously RNG can sometimes be fickle, but I feel like in Final Fantasy XIV, they design their systems in such a way that RNG doesn't get too annoying.
Raid fight progression.
Now, I mentioned this before, but learning fights in MMORPGs, at least for me, is one of the most enjoyable aspects of the games. I love...
That's something I'm really looking forward to whenever I do Pandemonium, the second, the other bosses, is I'm actually really excited to be able to play the content on like the hardest difficulty on release. So it's not like somebody can tell me like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that too. Like, you just have to learn it and know it yourself. I'm super fucking excited for that. It's gonna be great on release. Well, yeah, like the ultimate, I'm probably not gonna be able to do Dragon Song raid, Dragon Song, whatever the fuck it is. Probably won't be able to do that in time because I don't know when it comes out, but maybe. And yeah, no, whenever it comes out, like I'm gonna pretty much, so like, I don't know, like I don't want to make a whole lot of plans for a mainstream or anything like that, but I'm just saying like, yeah, I do plan on making a lot of progress in MSQ quite quickly, because the truth is I want to play more Final Fantasy, but I feel like I can't because I have so many other things that I have to do first. You know what I mean? Like I can't make progress in the game because, or I can't do the Bajja thing or the Eureka thing or Heaven on High or like any of these other types of content in the game. I can't make my character better because I'm still in Heaven's Ward, right? Or I'm just starting Stormblood. So I do want to complete the MSQ so I can actually play the game, because I feel like I cannot play the game.
Progressing in mythic raid encounters for World of Warcraft, seeing the boss's HP slowly decreasing each pull, watching as the raid team got better and better at the mechanics, everyone moving in perfect harmony until it all comes together in that final blaze of glory and the boss goes down.
Like whenever we killed Zurban,
it is a
that was
great
really cool.
experience. It's fun. It releases that dopamine, and I wind up smiling from ear to ear. I think Final Fantasy XIV does this even better than World of Warcraft. We were doing the second extreme trial for Endwalker, so anyone who's done that knows exactly what I am talking about here. And the first phase was one of the best learning experiences I've ever had in raiding. It blew me away with just how much fun it is learning all those mechanics. And I mean that. All those mechanics. The first phase of this trial has about 10 mechanics you really have to get comfortable with in order to clear that phase. You will die a lot while trying to figure out what to do. Then you get into phase 2, where the fight is almost completely unrecognizable from the normal mode, with many new mechanics added. And you also have to contend with every mechanic you were doing in phase 1. So it becomes this insanely hectic phase. But at the same time, as you learn it and become more acquainted with what's going on, the chaos of it starts to make sense.
Yeah.
And it feels really good when it all comes together.
Well, you guys don't understand how it works? Yeah, no, you're not talking about this, right? This is fucking obvious. You just have to stand there. If you get the blue one, you stand in the red one. It swaps every time it casts, and it does it 3 times with each of the cubes. Like, yeah, it's fucking obvious.
The chaos of it starts to make sense, and it feels really good when it all comes together.
Yeah.
So, there are 3 reasons I feel that progressing in Final Fantasy XIV feels so good. Number 1, food lasts through death. So you don't feel like you are wasting a bunch of resources trying to beat these fights. Dying isn't nearly as much of a punishment. In World of Warcraft, when you die, your food effect goes with you, and it can become very annoying when you die a lot and have to keep eating that very expensive food.
True.
Number 2, infinite battle reses. You know, when I first heard of this, coming from World of Warcraft, I laughed at it. I thought that would make it way too easy. But here's the thing. I was an idiot. This makes progressing the fights so much less taxing and annoying. The first time we got to
I feel like I didn't realize how much I liked the infinite battle reses until I did Heroic Sylvanas. In Heroic Sylvanas, is it possible to have negative fun? Because if it is, I had that on Heroic Sylvanas. It was absolutely fucking garbage. I hated it so much. It was the least amount of enjoyable, it was the worst fight I've ever done. And it's because you'd have somebody die and you knew that you wouldn't meet the DPS check 5 minutes later, 2 minutes later, and you're just stuck there. It sucked, man.
In the Extreme Trial 2?
You're so biased? Well, wait, you think I'm biased? No way I'm not biased. Like, I've played WoW for 15 years. Yeah, like, you know, I'm not biased at all. Like, it just sucks. Yeah, that's all there is to it.
The boss was at like 35% HP. Just think about that.
Yeah.
We weren't even close to beating it. The infinite battle reses really help with making progression less annoying and more fun. You get to keep seeing more of the fight and its mechanics. If your group is dying all the time, you will not beat the Enrage. It's as simple as that. Battle resing gives you a minute of 25% less of your main stats, so your DPS is going to be severely dampened. So at the end of the day, your group still needs a solid performance to get the clear. Number 3.
That's that's what sucked about doing Alexander Savage, is like, even if you, if you did one thing wrong, it was over. It was fucking over. It didn't matter like how many battle reses you have, because the screen goes black and you're done. Back to the start, bitch.
Do wipe, you start right back at the boss and can jump right back in. This helps so much. You don't have to run back. You don't have that downtime. You can just try again. You know, this is one of the reasons Super Meat Boy was such a fun platformer. Despite being brutally hard and unforgiving, when you died, you just spawned right away and could try again.
Yeah.
So, I am not going to lie, I had trepidation about using the Party Finder in Final Fantasy XIV. The Party Finder in World of Warcraft, well, it left me dead inside, and I was scared to even give it a shot in Final Fantasy XIV. Here's the thing. In World of Warcraft, my experience with the Party Finder was you would spend hours trying to get into a group for the content you wanted to do. A single wipe later, the group would fall apart, and you'd felt like you completely wasted your time and energy. The thing with World of Warcraft is, people tend to leave after a wipe or two. Many groups have the structural integrity of a house of cards. It doesn't take much to bring it down. I've seen so many groups fall apart.
Well, it's harder to find people, that's why. Is in Final Fantasy, so there are many barriers to entry that Final Fantasy doesn't have that WoW does have. And the biggest one is the faction system. So you just multiply the amount of people, assuming it's 50-50, which we all know it's not, but let's assume it is. Assuming it's 50-50, you multiply the amount of people that you can invite by 2. You double the amount of people. And also, like, in Final Fantasy, you probably don't have to worry as much about people greeting. Like, obviously, I'm sure this happens at high levels. Yeah, sure. But it doesn't seem like there's as much of a parse culture in Final Fantasy as there is in WoW. Like, in WoW, there's a huge parse culture. Now, this could change. My perspective on this could change whenever I actually get to level 90 and I do in-game Savage. Sure. But from what I've seen so far, it's not as bad. It definitely exists, though. I'm sure it does.
And it doesn't take much. And in my own experiences, I've seen plenty of negative and downright mean comments when players messed up. So, in Final Fantasy XIV, I had this idea that you shouldn't be going into Party Finder unless you know the fights very well. I should have known the games would be different here. I mean, they are in so many other regards. But that lingering thought was still deeply embedded. So, I used Duty Finder to try to learn the fights to be ready for Party Finder.
And that's another thing with Final Fantasy is that in WoW, I think that it's like there's like 2 different cultural expectations. There's like the cultural expectation in WoW that you join a group and that group is supposed to teach you the fight. And in Final Fantasy, I feel like there's much more of an expectation that whenever you join a raid or you join a group for something that's like more challenging, like an extreme or a savage or something like that, that you already know what you're doing because you don't want to waste other people's time. And in my opinion, that's what I always think. If you go into something blind and everybody else isn't except you, and they don't know that, they're not okay with that, then you're in the wrong. It's called respect. Yeah, exactly. And the other way around, right, is that in World of Warcraft, like, not knowing something, people are like, oh, well, you don't pay my sub, etc. And there's never the expectation that you should know things ahead of time. It's not a cultural value that the community has. Or if it is, it's much more, it's toxically stated. You can lock Party Finder if you only want farmers for the extremes or raids. Yeah, I feel like it's the exact opposite. What I've always seen from Final Fantasy, and this is, again, this is just my experience, and I haven't really played it a lot, but I've seen it, there is much more of an expectation on players to come into fights that are challenging with prior knowledge. I think so. Like, there's much more of an expectation for it.
When I told my friend I was doing that,
for higher
well,
content,
he laughed at me and told me to just use Party Finder. And thank God for that. So, I found a party in there relatively quickly for the extreme trial I wanted to do. It was advertised as practice.
And also another reason for this is because, correct me if I'm wrong, but can't you set in the Party Finder duty completed so you only invite people that have already completed it before? Yeah. That's good, because that way you never have a point where somebody could buy a carry, yeah, sure. But like allowing people to play with each other on the level that they want to play with each other at. Like if you want to do a farming group, you don't want to invite somebody that's never killed the boss before and wants to prog it. You just want to do a farming group. You want to just kill the boss over and over for the mount or something like that. And you don't want to deal with a whole lot of bullshit. And I think being honest about that and giving the people the ability to be honest about that is way better. Yeah, it's way, way, way fucking better. Because people can link fake achievements. They can have a high item level or something like that. There's like, in WoW, like linking fake achievements is super common. Like, people link me incompleted achievements, and they just hope that I won't notice that they were incomplete. But we can give people options? Yeah, you give people options. The same as, like, Final Fantasy has Master Loot, and it's not a problem.
And we wiped for about an hour straight on the first phase, and everyone was remaining positive the entire time. No one left group. I was in shock. And in all the groups I had joined, until I got my first kill, I had not once seen negativity or people losing their tempers. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure players get agitated and lose their cool, and I'm sure if you tried to join a group that was farming an extreme trial with zero experience, they wouldn't be too pleased with you when you died over and over again. But, from my first 100%. Impressions using Party Finder, well, it was a very pleasant experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Getting raid gear in World of Warcraft is, well, it's like pulling teeth. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, and you feel like you are being jerked around a lot. That's by design. They want to keep you raiding and playing, and a way that they do that is by making gear take a while. This has not been the case in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, you get gear pretty quick.
I am specifically talking about Extreme Trials right now, but I'll talk a bit about the Pandemonium raids at the end. So, there are two extremes at the moment.
Got a lot of
Extreme 1 drops the right side gear, also known as rings, necklaces, etc.
Okay.
The fight drops 4 items, and you will also get a totem that you can exchange.
But no, y'all, some people in chat are right. Like, obviously, if you get banned if you're negative, that's a big fucking factor. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. Absolutely it is. The fact that people that are negative get fucking banned, then yeah, of course it reduces negativity. Absolutely. That's good, though. I don't know. It depends. I think calling people out for, like, making mistakes should be fair, and you should be able to tell people that they're doing things wrong without worrying about getting banned for it. But it's like whenever you start making really, really specific and overarching rules for social interactions, you do run into the problem of losing the nuance of why that interaction occurred or what the people are really saying. So it's mainly a case-by-case basis, I would say.
For gear, if your RNG is really bad. Extreme 2 drops your weapons, and it drops 1 role-specific weapon and 1 weapon coffer, which has a weapon for whatever role opens it. You also get a totem as well. If you are in a static, it will take at most 8 runs to get your weapon. If you are using the Party Finder and are really unlucky, it will take at most 10 runs, because that's how many totems it takes to trade for the weapon. Extreme Trials can also be run as much as you want, so you can farm them until your heart's content.
I've seen people get the mount too on this already.
Now, the way raiding works, such as Pandemonium, is that all the raid encounters drop what the game calls relics, which have no role restriction on them, and you have to collect a specific amount of these relics in order to trade for the piece of gear that you want. The great thing about Final Fantasy XIV raids is that you only get locked out of loot from an encounter after you have already won a piece of loot.
Really?
So you can keep
Wow.
killing the boss over and over again
I didn't know that.
until you get your desired relic.
Damn.
Then, you go to the Relic Exchange NPC, trade in the required amount of relics, and get...
See, if somebody said it takes too long to get kicked out, like, this is the way I deal with it, right? And this is the way I deal with things in WoW now. Like, if somebody is doing something wrong, I just kick them out. That's it. I don't talk to them. I don't negotiate with them. If you're not here to play the game the right way, you're kicked out. I'm not going to try to explain it to you. If this is a farm group, I'm not going to do any of this. Like, you're just wasting everybody's time. I'm not going to discuss this with you. You're out. Done, period, gone, finished, deleted, get somebody new. Toxic? See, I don't think that's toxic at all. Because everybody else, what's toxic is coming into the group and wasting 7 or 20 other people's time. 19, it's not toxic. Yeah, you're just out. Yeah, don't waste people's time. Depends on what the context of the raid is. Well, of course, everything always depends on context. You ban whatever you want. Square Enix does the same. What's the issue? Well, people just want to have, like, fair rules. You know, I think that's generally what it comes down to. It's not toxic to have expectations. Yeah, exactly. Do it in Final Fantasy, see what happens. I've kicked people out in Final Fantasy before. Yeah, it hasn't been a big deal. Like, it doesn't matter.
Your piece of gear. It can take a while, obviously, to fill out all of your gear, but you have complete control over what you get and when you get it, which is really nice. I dig player agency. That is so different from World of Warcraft, where after you kill a boss, the gear is locked out, regardless of if you got something, which increases the amount of time it takes to get gear, and also leads to frustration when something you want doesn't drop, after weeks of trying.
The thing is, somebody says I'm more tolerant in Final Fantasy. I definitely am. I am way more tolerant in Final Fantasy, and the reason that I'm more tolerant is it's very simple. It's because the fights that I'm doing require a lot of, like, if you compare, I think a really good comparison is how tolerant I am whenever I'm doing Herald of the Titans. Like, if you go back and you watch my videos for Herald of the Titans, I let people make way more mistakes on Herald of the Titans than I do in a current level raid. Because I know that the amount of time that it will take me to get a new person and then get that person up to speed faster is going to be longer than just expecting the current person to do their job right. It's kind of like I'm going to be more tolerant of a tank doing tanking badly in Scarlet Monastery than I am of a tank doing tanking badly in Stockades if I'm playing Alliance in Classic WoW. Because if you're doing it bad in Stormwind, I just kick you out and I get somebody else immediately and I replace you. Yeah, it's efficiency reasons. Yeah, it's purely efficiency.
Final Fantasy XIV gives you more agency and respects your time. You get to decide how you want to gear up your character, and that is something World of Warcraft has been lacking. Because of all of the RNG in World of Warcraft, it's hard to gear your character up the way that you want to. It feels really bad when the RNG weekly loot chest gives you stuff you don't need anymore.
I got a cloak in my my chest. A cloak. I already had a cloak.
Because you got it in the raid this week. Or worse yet, nothing of value. That is really the worst. I just wanted to say something here in closing. I don't think gear taking a long time to obtain is inherently a bad thing. The problem I have with it in World of Warcraft, and most modern MMOs, to be fair, is that gear is so replaceable that spending a bunch of time to get it, well, it seems utterly pointless and a complete waste of your time.
Yeah, it just gets replaced immediately.
You know that gear is replaced frequently, so spending a bunch of time to get it just feels
This fight takes a long time.
I remembered when I played Final Fantasy XI, gear in that game took a very long time to obtain. Sometimes you could go over a year without the piece of gear you want dropping.
That sucks.
The big difference was that Final Fantasy XI was far more horizontal with its gear progression, which basically meant that those pieces of gear were always relevant. You didn't feel like you wasted your time getting the gear because the game didn't replace it all the next raid. Anyways, that's how these two behemoth of games handle raid progression. I think it's pretty...
kind of like in Classic WoW. It's like once you get DFT, Drakefang Talisman, or once you get Neltharion's Tear, you're good, bro. Like, you're fucking good. Now, obviously, it's a little bit better if you get the Restrained Essence of Saffron. Yeah, it definitely is better. And, you know, like the other trinket from Dragon Spine Trophy. Yeah, exactly. But gear is more horizontal in old WoW, and that's why it was more okay that things took a long time to farm. Because once you got it, you had it.
Obvious which one I prefer, but what are your thoughts? If you haven't raided in Final Fantasy XIV yet, does hearing this make you want to do so? And that's all I have for today. I hope you all have a very happy holiday. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until next time, well, take care.
It's a good video. He didn't talk about Savage loot rules at all. During no raid, Savage was different. You locked out after you clear regardless of a drop or not. Savage chests can only be used for a piece of gear corresponding to your class you're on at the moment. So you get a page that can be exchanged for loot. Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, Savage, yeah, I'm reading this. I think it makes sense that you're able to, you have more agency on what you do at lower difficulty levels. That's the same way it worked in ICC. Like, you could basically buy whichever parts of the tier set that you wanted early on, but if you wanted to get the higher levels to them, you had to get the special drops from the raid, for sure. Yeah, can you guys believe it has no dislikes? Oh my god.
En la Navidad cantamos más fuerte que nunca. En la Navidad nos damos esos antojos que no pueden faltar en estas fiestas. En la Navidad nos acercamos a esos amigos en secreto para comprar sus regalos en el último momento. La Navidad nos acerca, nos inspira. En la Navidad a veces olvidamos ese último regalo. Y es aquí, en Metro Plus, donde todos esos regalitos, esos gustitos de última hora, siempre los encuentras. Esta Navidad la vivimos más cerca que nunca. Con amigos. En familia. Como prefieras, pero juntos. Metro Plus les desea una feliz Navidad y un próspero año nuevo.
Today we're going to be talking about the in no way controversial topic of censorship and westernization of Lost Ark.
Oh, good.
I'm already anticipating a bunch of comments saying things like, imagine caring about this at all. That's not really an argument. It's basically you just saying, I don't personally care about this subject, which is totally understandable. Hopefully by the end of this video, I'll have explained this subject in a way that you can at least understand why people care about this so much.
I never really understood the logic behind why do you care about this? It's such a minor thing. Because couldn't you just apply that same exact logic to the developers? Why would you care about this? It's such a minor thing. Why are you changing it? It's like, if you're making the argument of who gives a fuck, I'm sorry, but it's a video game, so who gives a fuck? The entire conversation is moot. So it's a throwaway argument that morons use because they can't argue their position.
What censorship is in the game, we don't actually have a lot of details about that, and what we do know is pretty conflicting. For one, the starting outfits that you can preview during character customization have been replaced with far more modest clothing, and some of the starting outfits that you begin the game wearing have been changed as well. The martial artist seems to have just given up. You begin the
Let me see. So yeah, that does seem quite different.
Game wearing have been changed as well. The martial artist seems to have just given up on kung fu and is doing her best assassin.
See, like this one, I think if this is martial artist, doesn't really make sense because this is clearly based around Chun-Li to a certain extent, right? And you're gonna get rid of that? I mean, come on.
In cosplay now. Are those legs in my M-rated video game? The community manager, Rox, who is a super nice person, by the way, she seems really passionate about the game, has gone on record to say that those missing preview outfits from the character creation screen are still in the game as white armor drops. But to my knowledge, nobody's been able to verify this so far. At least from what I understand, no one was able to find any of those outfits during the beta, so I guess we'll have to see what the deal is there when the full game releases.
Okay.
Kind of related, the outfits that you get for purchasing the Founders Pack were shown off pretty recently.
Oh, that one's fucking badass, dude. That one is, yo, straight up, like, that shit's fucking cool.
In it, you can see that the Summoner is wearing some kind of weird metal chastity belt type deal to cover up those evil thighs of hers. This is actually her reveal outfit, which you can see in the trailer here. She doesn't have that weird metal belt on. Rox again said that this isn't going to be censored in the actual game and is just being censored in the marketing material, which is nice, but kind of brings up another problem of what you're seeing versus what you're getting with your $100 purchase, but whatever. In some brighter news for the anti-censorship folks, there were, I believe, 2 NPCs in the game that you can get level 5 affinity with, which rewards you with a short little cutscene where you kind of get to go on a date with them, and then you get some implied sexy times.
Okay.
There's nothing graphic in these cutscenes, like it doesn't actually show anything.
But
these
it
affinity
implies.
tiers were missing from the Western version of the game, and a lot of people assumed censorship. Rox clarified that these were intended to be in the game at launch, but were missing due to a known issue.
That's fine, yeah.
This page is blank. I think the people that are against this supposed censorship belong in one of 2 camps. The first camp, which I'm a part of, is just anti-censorship in all regards. Censorship sucks, and that's really it. I don't want any creator to feel the need to remove or modify any piece of their work just so it can appeal to a wider audience. All that really does is just lead to more samey, safe garbage. I, as an adult, should have the freedom to engage with any content I want to. Remember,
I hate this kind of stuff. It's the same thing you see happen with like movies and like other content, etc. It's people taking these like weird fringe ideologies of, oh, well, you can't have a woman in skimpy clothing in the game because it makes a handful of people that are probably fucked up already unhappy. Number one, I think that like if you look at the games, this is just one little bit of an example here, is if like Final Fantasy has a million skimpy fucking outfits and tons of girls play it. It's the same thing with Lost Ark. So the ironic thing is that the games that have the more skimpy outfits and the games that are more revealing actually have a higher ratio of female players than the ones that aren't. Look at New World. Like, there's no Coomer outfits in New World. The fuck no. And it's played by a bunch of fucking balding boomer men with gray beards. That's it. There's no girls playing that game, hardly at all. I see only guys playing. I never hear a girl on the mic. Compare that to Final Fantasy, there's girls everywhere. This is the truth, man. It's a small amount of people that are insecure. It makes them uncomfortable because they're basically Puritans. It's super cringe to me. Sony censors Japanese games but leaves sex in their own games. I don't know about that. I have no idea. It's because the devs want to make the highest possible amount of revenue, so they curtail the puritanical audience. But they don't make the highest amount of revenue. Remember like the fucking Resident Evil game with the tall vampire lady, and everybody wanted to play the game, was talking about the game because of her? Like, Coomer content, there's a reason why like porn fucking decides the fate of like technology with videography. Porn is a leading reason why you have a ton of different videography techniques and a ton of different quality options online. It's because porn did it first. So to be like, oh, this is only a small amount of people, no, it's fucking not. A lot of people like it. It's the old thing, sex sells. And the only people that don't like this, I think, are people that are bringing in their own personal trauma, they're bringing in their own personal problems, their ideology into the game, and they're trying to make the entire world conform around the way that they see things, and more importantly, the way that they see themselves. It's their own insecurities, yes. They're uncomfortable with their sexuality. They're uncomfortable with sexuality in general. And it also, in America, we have a history of being prudes. Like, let's be honest, okay? We really fucking do. We've had the witch trials, the McCarthyism, the Jesus shit that was back in like the 90s and the 2000s. Like, America has such a bad fucking reputation with this and such a bad track record with just unnecessary puritanical bullshit. So it's not even necessarily a PC thing or a liberal fucking progressive thing or anything weird like that. This is just an America problem in general, and it's been a problem forever. It's conservatism. It's the effect. There's people on both sides that think this, right? There's people that don't want to see women be objectified, and there's people that don't want to see women shown that way because they think that they are, you know, it's like that it's bad, right? Like, so both sides, unironically, in my opinion, are stupid. Yeah, it's Puritanism one way or another.
Lost Ark is an M-rated video game. I really like the goal.
Someone said you don't have a daughter, you don't understand. That's not how we make decisions in the world here. I'll give you an example. If you are personally affected by something, as like you don't have people that are hurt in a lawsuit. Like, let's say you hit somebody, you run somebody over. You don't put the people's family the person who you ran over, you don't put that person's family on the jury because they're not going to make an objective good decision. I don't give a fuck about what you think your arbitrary gatekeeping mechanism for allowing people to make decisions is. It's even more the point that you should make a decision objectively without looking at it from your own personal worldview. Nobody's thinking about your daughter whenever they're playing Lost Ark. It's a completely different fucking thing. It's not only is it patronizing, but it's also gatekeeping. It's ridiculous. People are fucking delusional. Well, no, it's not that people are delusional. People want to create a situation where they are the only people who are able to have an opinion on things. So they create a criteria for something, and then they say, unless people meet this criteria for something, then they can't have an opinion about it, even though the criteria for it is arbitrary to a large extent. And on top of that, then they assume that anybody who did meet that criteria will think the same as they do. That's what people do all the time. And no, I'm not going to allow my opinion to be discarded because I don't have a kid. Like, it's so weird. Like it doesn't affect me. You know, they have daughters in Korea too, right? Like, people, they have females there too. Like, people have kids there, and it's fine. It's just it's creepy and weird, honestly.
Or in Lost Ark, I think it adds a lot to the visual flair of the game, and it makes all the combat feel a lot more visceral. If that was removed in its entirety, I feel like a lot of people who don't really care about the loot stuff being censored might be up in arms then. Another hypothetical would be the PvP mode. I like the PvP in Lost Ark a lot, but I don't really have any plans to play the ranked mode. I'm just not that kind of guy. But if I heard that some stupid change was coming to the ranked PvP mode, I would gladly stand with the rest of the community in trying to get that fixed. I don't want any features stripped down or removed from the game just because it might be something that I personally don't care about. None of this would be a big deal if they just added a toggle for the loot outfits or the gore or whatever, but that never happens. Censorship is telling a man that he can't have a steak just because a baby can't chew it. It's Mark Twain. He and I are good friends. He hasn't texted me back though in like at least 100 years. Now, the second camp of anti-censorship folk are people that are just a little more honest about their primal urges. And guess what? I'm also a part of that camp, so I didn't see that coming. You're telling me I'm not supposed to have my mind getting like electrocuted when I see the garter belt action that Gunslinger's got going on?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, I'm so stoic of a man that this has no effect on me. Yeah, right. As for the westernization part, this is a little more cut and dry. A lot of the NPCs have had their skin color changed in what is the lamest attempt at diversification that I've seen in a while. These look pretty terrible, and I don't know why development time was wasted on something this trivial.
I don't think
the
it would
card
take that
art
much
for
time.
these have been changed as well, and it looks like someone just colored over them in Microsoft Paint or something. There's like some cartoony effect going on with some of them because they did such a terrible job of like painting over their skin.
I'll be okay with this one because they made her boobs bigger. But the other ones, like, I don't really care a whole lot about this because I think that games to some degree are going to be it's going to be a reflection of the people that are making it in that culture, right? It's just kind of what makes sense. I don't really care about this as much unless you're changing like core elements of the character. So it's like if I was playing a game that was in like Africa, I would assume that most of the people in the game would probably be black, you know? If I'm playing a game that's in Korea, I would assume that most of the people in the game would probably be Korean. And if I'm playing a game in NA, I would assume that there would be a much more diverse because the country is much more diverse. You know, that kind of makes sense. It's the same thing as like, they have, like, you know, like the meme of like Jesus being like actually a brown guy or whatever, and you know, all of the dumb like racist Americans worshiping a white Jesus and he didn't exist, right? You guys, we've seen this, right? There are many pictures in China and in other Asian countries. Guess what Jesus is? He's Chinese. It's Chinese Jesus, okay? Like, yeah, this is just what people do because they want to have their media represent them. Exactly. Yeah, that's just, I take that back. It's for real, man. I'm being honest. Yeah, the same shit happens. Like it's more personal to them. Same with Indian and Chinese versions of Buddha. Yeah.
This is a way worse offender than these though, and those of you with weak constitutions may want to look away. Here's a quick before and after picture of my queen. And before you say anything, if you think these changes are stupid or if you think they look pretty bad, well, bad news. You're a racist. I don't really understand the point in these changes. There are already a variety of skin colors present in Lost Ark to begin with. And apparently Smilegate has gone on record to say that they're wanting to put an African region in the game. It's also weird that the West is like the only place that needs these kind of changes to feel more at home. I've been playing on the Russian version of Lost Ark for God knows how long, and I haven't seen...
That's because Russia don't give a fuck. Russia doesn't give a fuck. Korea doesn't give a fuck. The only people that really give a fuck about this are people in North America and Europe. Like, and even most people in Europe don't give a fuck either. In the entire rest of the world, they are completely open about it, about just being basically like, we only want people from our culture, we want content for our culture, and that's about it. I think I don't know a lot about the Middle East culture outside of like Islam, etc. So I'm not sure how they feel, but I would probably assume it's about the same. Don't bring EU into Nah, bro, the EU has the same shit happening too, okay? I don't want to hear about it. I didn't say your country, but I think the EU has been infected with this to a degree as well. Okay, but this is mainly something that North American audiences and some places, does that make you feel better? Some places in Europe care about. Altering source material to meet the ideologies of where it is. I'm from Europe, I just want to play the game, what's going on? It doesn't really matter. Like, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. It's coming to universities already? I don't know about that, I have no idea. I haven't been in a university for a long fucking time, man. Having a problem with darker skin representation is kind of sus. I don't think most people really have a problem with that. I think that people just don't want to see things changed from the source material. I think it's literally that simple. They don't want to see things changed from what the source material is. They want to play the same game, they want to do the same thing, and they don't want to see things changed. And if things get changed, then it's like, when does this stop? And some people get nervous about that. That's all there is to it. I have a problem with it being badly done. It's insulting. I think it is. They certainly need to do a better job with it for sure.
An AK-47 one time. I've always felt like you should go into these things with certain expectations. Like, I knew that Lost Ark was a Korean MMO, so I knew that there were going to be some edgy pretty boys in the game that I was supposed to be like super terrified of. I don't know why the West should expect a Korean MMO to be representative of the diversity and skin colors that you see in the West. You know, the second I booted up Yakuza 0, the only thing that was going through my mind was,
where are all the white people? Where are the white people?
Another issue is they've replaced a lot of the faces available in the character creation with more Western options instead of just adding those as more options, which
I don't know why you would replace them. Like, why wouldn't you just add them? That's what makes sense. In my opinion, this is what I've always said, right? Is that they should make it to where you can play as a character that kind of looks like you, because this is just the way that I am, right? I play these RPGs as a self-insert. I make a character that kind of looks like me or looks like my idealized version of myself. And I think if you're a black guy, you're going to probably want to do the same thing, or at least there's a lot of black guys out there that probably do the same thing. Same with Hispanic or Asian or anything like that. So a lot of guys do this, a lot of girls do this, and I think giving the extra skin options is nothing. It doesn't really matter. It just makes it easier for them to do it. It's the same as, like, I don't like playing female characters in video games. I like playing a male character because I view the character as like myself in the universe, and I'm not a girl, and being a male and is like a core element of who I am. And so yeah, that's the way I feel about it. Obviously there's some people that don't look at it that way. They play something that's completely fucking different, and that's fine. But there's enough people that I think like I do, to where I don't think having the extra options is really that bad. Yeah, I don't care, but I don't see why replace. Why the fuck would you replace them? Just make other ones.
Has a lot of people upset since you're not going to be able to make some of those faces in the Western version of the game with the tools that we have. You can slightly modify each of these bases, but it's not like Black Desert Online tier where you can change everything. So you can't really make a lot of those missing presets. Those missing faces could just be a bug or something that was missing in the beta, but after a while of waiting, Seawolf, another community manager, has been unable to find out for sure, so we don't really know for now. So I believe that's everything we know so far. Thank you for sticking around if you made it this far, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about this kind of stuff. I read every comment and I cry very easily, so please be careful. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, I think it's another reason why, it's like one of the subtext reasons why a lot of people moved over from World of Warcraft to Final Fantasy, is that a lot of people, this guy's kind of a, he's a new content creator. He's only got 126 subs, so I'm going to link you guys to videos so you can maybe give him a sub or give him a like, give him a little bit of feedback, one way or another. And the reason why is because I think that there's a large amount of an audience, and this is like, I'm part of this audience too. I don't want to feel patronized or talked down to in a narrative or in a game. And in my opinion, like, whenever they change NPCs in WoW and they remove paintings in WoW, I feel patronized. I feel like I am being looked down on. And that's a big reason why I think a lot of people, probably as a subtext reason, big subtext reason, why people moved over to Final Fantasy. Because Final Fantasy, while it does cover big issues like refugees and different types of like ingrained class conflicts like in Ul'dah and Alamigo, right? It covers a lot of issues, but it doesn't caricature them in a way that it's just a completely one-sided perspective where the good guy is good all the time and the bad guy is bad all the time. It takes a respectful approach to the situation rather than a preachy approach to the situation that I think puts a lot of people off. So that's, I think, another big reason why a lot of people lost interest with like things like WoW and stuff, because whenever you know that it has nuance, yeah, whenever you know that it has those kinds of features in it, it has that kind of stuff in it, you become much less, like, you realize that you're not playing a fantasy world anymore, right? Because now you realize that your fantasy world exists in the context of these like modern day like political opinions that I think are not even shared by 20% of the population, 10% of the population. So whenever you see that in the game and you see it being represented in the game and changed in the game, it will it takes you out of that immersion. It takes the escapism away. Like, people don't want to play a video game that condescends to them about like who they're voting for in real life or what their opinions on X or Y thing is in real life. Nobody wants to do that in a fantasy game. It's not that there's I think that you have games, like a great example of this is like Detroit Become Human. I haven't played the whole thing. I played a small bit of it, right? But of course it covers like real life issues. Yeah, it seems like it does, like with like a AI and shit like that. But I think it's the way that it's covered as well. Not even that it's like covered, but it's covered respectfully and it's covered in a way that makes sense. Yeah, and so that way the escapism works. But I think that what people, this is what I really don't like, is whenever people take an existing IP and then they change it in a way to fit their sensibilities or their sensitivities. That's what I don't like. Make a new IP if you want to do that. Make new content if you want to do that. Don't take over old content and then try to change and edit it to where it's the same as it used to be. Yeah, that's what I don't like. So it's just a game people don't give a fuck? Yeah, most people don't care about this stuff. I would say like the people that care about this stuff are less than probably 10-20% of the population. Probably a lot less, to be honest with you. The amount of people that are going to play the game in Lost Ark that care about this, that think this is a problem, 1%. Yeah, nobody gives a fuck. So I actually saw here, let's read what some of the comments here are. As far as I know, yeah, they gave a clear answer to this topic. There have been many threads. So this was stated by a developer on Twitter, or somebody that works on Lost Ark on, not Twitter, why am I saying Twitter, on the forums. And I'll read what they said. Many threads on a topic, but I'll cross-post over here. Default starting outfits for player characters are not as revealing as those in other regions. However, the original and more revealing starting outfits can be found in the game as low-level white drops as soon as you begin playing. As I said before, I think this is stupid. I don't think anybody cares about this or wants this. This is something that's being done probably because of people that have an agenda to push who work in the office of this game. The actual people playing the game do not care about this. This is irrelevant to them, and it's just a niche ideology that's being pushed as if it's a legitimate problem. But the truth is, nobody gives a fuck about it except for the people that are probably making the decision. Wasted dev time. Yeah, just wasted time. Currently, Sorcerer's Founder Pack skin looks different on the website, doesn't game.
Now, when I'm sitting here and I'm, saying stuff about, like, the Nocturne in the game before, it's because it's pretty fucking ridiculous. Like, let me just watch the pathing. So assume that you're a professional jungler player, okay? Because the game was over. It was over. I am going to have my way with him. He's going to be Hannah, I'm going to be Bryce. So let's take a look at Nocturne's route. So, if you're Nocturne right here, okay, you do have the luxury of being able to power farm pretty early. Your bottom lane, you can't really do anything for it. If you are going to gank a lane, it will be top lane. And I guess you could gank mid lane at like level 3. So let's just follow Nocturne's path for a second. This is the game I got really upset because it should have been a free win. So he does red. And then he immediately paths up into blue, even though he could do wraiths first. Now, you're against a grave, so you don't want to fall behind inside of the jungle, and you do want to eat this as it's rubber banded to level 4 or level 5, so I don't know why he doesn't take it right away. So this is first point, and we count this when he has 20 CS and he shows up at wraiths. Then, he moves behind his blue, and he immediately goes to the Scuttle Crab, because I would definitely want to gank from something that would need this location. No, I wouldn't. I don't give a shit about this. If I'm gonna gank, it's gonna be like this, or I'm gonna come in like this and path here, or I'm gonna stand right here and E forward as Aurelia goes on Lulu. I know I am. So I do this route because I understand what Nocturne should be thinking. And now I come into Wraiths to see if he has it. Now, if Nocturne ends up having the Wraith camp here, I can determine his location to be around here, which means that I can path down into Golems, eat his Golems, recall, and then match him on the left-hand side of the map around the time that he would be looking to try to get some intel onto me after he's cleared his left side jungle. What this ends up doing is Nocturne recalls, and then Nocturne is forced to path to the right-hand side of the map where he has no camps other than his Wraiths. I get to clear my left-hand side jungle off a recall and path into the right-hand side of the map, which is where he's forced to go after his initial recall, which now means I am simultaneously protecting mid lane and bottom lane and potentially contesting the new Scuttle Crab and potentially his Wraiths if he doesn't choose to eat them right away after they've respawned. I come in here and I see that his Wraiths haven't been touched. So we know at this point that Nocturne is around here, and we know that he can gank from the left-hand side, and then I ward this because I assume at this point, now also I could have probably paid a little bit better attention to, this is fucking stupid. So I just wanted to not give away my location, and I want Lulu to not take a trade. This is a fucking pretty bad thing by me though. So now, after this, I path into his Golems, and this should further actually make them think that I haven't invaded the right-hand side because Lulu, unless they read Lulu's pathing as, okay, she's trying to run to Graves. So I end up eating the golems, and Nocturne clears his entire left-hand side jungle. So he doesn't read the fact that Lulu kited into river and flashed over this wall, which doesn't make any sense. So Nocturne doesn't read this. The second that Nocturne sees this, he should beeline for my red side jungle, because they know that I didn't start red side, which means that he can get my wraiths, he can get my red, and then he can take the blast cone up to
Mom, we're gonna go to Barnes & Noble after school and get frappuccinos. Mom, stop! My mom says hey. Shauna, oh my God, how excited are you for tonight? Deadly Hallows coming out, baby! Oh my gosh, we should go get Rockstar so that we can stay up until midnight and we'll be so crazy random. We're gonna get crunk! I don't give a crap about the iPhone. I have a Razr. I mean, plus I have an iPod Touch, so what's the point in all that? Try doing that with an iPhone. J.K. Rowling can do no wrong. She'll never say anything that'll ever break my heart. I must ask you a question, but I'll save it for later. Dylan! My wife! Oh my God, have you seen that video of the two idiots who are singing the Pokemon theme song? Like, who do they think they are? Oh my God, Chase just texted me. He said, what's crack-a-lackin' home skillet? Wanna chillax later? What a stud muffin. I'm gonna text him back. What should I say? Hold on, I'm so bad at T9 word. Hold on, okay.
¡Ándale! Muy bien.
Oigan, Jesús resucitó.
A ver, Pedro, ya, de verdad, párale con los chistes, ¿eh? Nos tienes hasta la madre.
Que no es choro, resucitó y está que se lo carga el payaso.
No, pues cómo no, ya valieron madre esos romanos. ¿Tú has visto ese güey encabronado?
Con lo del tianguis se puso bien loco, ¿te acuerdas?
Es que se pone como muy violento, como fuera de sí. Pobre del que lo mató. Le va a ir de la chingada.
Híjole, me acabo de acordar que tengo un compromiso. Pero ahí me saludan a Jesús cuando lo vean.
No, espérate, Judas, no te puedes ir. Pues es que seguro viene a verte a ti, pues eres un mero compa.
No, yo también lo quiero ver. 3 días sin verlo, imagínate. Pero mi mamá que está malita.
Oye, pues con más razón, lo esperas y la cura.
No, ya sería abuso, ¿no? Y viene cansado, la crucificada y luego la resucita, imagínate. No, suena cabrón. Y se va a querer echar un palito con Magda, ya sabes, ¿para qué? Pero me lo saludan.
Ahora sí, ya te vi, culero. ¡Ay, no mames! ¡Ábreme, pinche Judas!
Cálmate. Ey, mira, carnal, déjate explico. Las 30 monedas son para tu mercadotecnia. Magda, ya sabes, ¿para qué? Pero me lo saludan.
Ahora sí, ya te vi, culero. ¡Ay, no mames! ¡Ábreme, pinche Judas!
Cálmate. Ey, mira, carnal, déjate explico. Las 30 monedas son para tu mercadotecnia. Te va a hacer bien famoso.
¡Ábreme, famosos mis huevos, culero!
No, Jesus, la ira es un pecado. No te claves, güey.
Pero ahorita te voy a enseñar lo que aprendí en Iztapalapa.
A ver, ¿quién dijo? Perdonarás nuestras ofensas como también nosotros perdonamos. ¿Quién dijo eso?
No seas hipócrita, Jesus.
¡Ábreme la cuenta!
Pásame la cuerda, bro. Agárrale aquí, perro.
¡Pedro, ábrele!
Ahí voy, Jesus, ahí voy.
¡Ábrele, pero ahorita lo voy a poner en su madre, Judas!
Espérate, ahí voy. No encuentro la llave.
¡Órale, tengo frío! ¡Me dejaron en calzones! Tú me avisas y yo te lo quito, ¿va?
Ya no mames, Jesús, ya espérate,
Ya no te falta una de los huevos.
¡Pedro! Eres culero, pinche Jesús, eres culero.
Ya esa ya nada más fue por diversión.
Bueno, mátame, culero.
Por unas cosquillitas.
Pero... Eres culero, pinche Jesús, eres culero.
Ya esa ya nada más fue por diversión.
Bueno, mátame, culero.
Por unas cosquillitas.
Ya, espérate, güey.
That's how they win. They stack it with all the people they want.
Well, we're gonna have to see what happens to that because I'm gonna report him. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna report him, dude. Get that temporary ban or permanent, whatever the case.
Depends on how much they done fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you report?
Either the leader, which is Dale, or anyone with the crown. Which right now it's only him and Marabo.
That's how they win. They stack it with all the.
Yeah, there was actually one day, there was one day I had kind of had nothing to do, so I went to a Japanese PC cafe, and I was bored. I just had like 4 or 5 hours to kill one day, so I went to a Japanese PC cafe, and I sat there for like 90 minutes. I installed League of Legends, and then I played League of Legends on North America servers from a Japanese PC cafe, and I had like fucking 4 billion ping, and the computer was shitty also, so it was like terrible. Yeah, from my experience, they don't really have like they're not at all like Korean PC cafes.
Juro no decir palabra que no sea cierta y no usar el poder único como arma. El oscuro está despertando, pero habrá alguien que podrá enfrentarlo. Sus vidas no serán lo que pensaban.
Well, not fully, right?
Not American.
I mean, I always account, you play the female model if you're a gamer, right? It's just, you know.
You're about to say if you're a girl.
No, gamer.
I'm a girl in game though.
You can be. It's World of Warcraft. You can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought maybe next time I'll play the Night Elf now. I have a 6-pack. It's a fantasy game, right?
See, the thing is, I had 2 females, Night Elf females. They reached level 41 and 48. And then I went middle, and I reached level 60. So, it was like a frustration pick, man.
It's because the game lowers its difficulty if you're playing Night Elf.
Yeah. True.
You play the human female in PvE, that's like hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
On EU, you just see full rates of human females.
Yeah, girls a guy in real life. Yo,
all the heals and dwarves.
For the rate of everyone else averaged around that amount, 15,000
all red
hours.
pals and
Wow.
And human males.
Play 10 days character and you split the mill, it's like $100 per hour. That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
I had a Night Elf male druid on the Endless TBC tournament server, the private server, and all the European players made fun of me because it was like 90% European players. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? The Night Elf druid.
I will say,
all Europeans play females.
the 40 people in the raid is not the only slash played that's accounted to the.
It's just the rule.
To the MC run, right?
Like a lot of people play like male dwarf actually.
You can account 5 days played to this more than staff.
All East Europeans play. All East Europeans.
Rest in peace.
Like,
I forget the priest's name.
Mokum just subscribed.
I forget the priest's name, but he spent 5 days played to get this warden staff, hit level 60, and then trade it to me. So there's a lot of hours that have gone into this. Good rate, let's do it. Oh, yeah, we just need an oiler. The disrespect? Hey man, it's been a bloody road to rag. Yikes.
Peter, try and put on like a walk mode.
Yeah, GG.
And then like walk, RP walk.
God, what was my bind? Oh, there. I'd actually bind that for the first raids.
Oh, it's a decent bind to have. If you're gonna RP walk. Playing on a... Actually, we're not even on an RP so anymore.
And all the gear you got the guild? Right.
Did anyone see the clip of the rogue dying to RP walk?
What? How did that happen?
I don't know, he was in that escort in Dust Swallow. I mean, maybe he would have died without it, but he was just RP walking the whole time, like trying to run away from 6 mobs, like those ones that shadow bolt you and stuff, you know?
Did he...
Or not in Dust Swallow, sorry, in Swamp of Sorrows.
Did he accidentally hit... whatever the hell it's called?
He was just like, you know, like when you're in an escort quest and you're like RPing with the boy, you're not like, alright, let's walk together. That's what he was doing, you know?
He just forgot the RP bind? RP walk bind?
I think he just forgot he was, I think he thought he was slowed or dazed or something, like instantly.
My man must have been drinking or something not to figure that out.
Yeah.
You gotta be You gotta be down bad. To
I mean, not gonna lie, been there before, but yeah.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
Sure.
You know on private servers, right? If you mind control people and turn on RP walk, they had to turn it off themselves.
That's so toxic.
I'm not even kidding.
Oh,
Like
damn.
sometimes you'd mind control the Chinese players and enable RP walk, and they literally just RP walk rest of the day. Like fucking crazy. You see like a Chinese, you mind control him, you turn on RP walk, and then you see him like half an hour later somewhere else in the zone. He's just RP walk.
That's actually pretty good bot control. Yeah, that's too funny. Was it Index? I'm not sure who it was. I may or may not have lost a couple 40 plus hardcore players from being under the influence. And yeah, never again.
Yep.
The Americans drink a lot during Christmas.
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel like the younger generation in America goes crazier on alcohol because it's like, you know, can't drink till 21, right?
Oh,
And it's not it's not normalized either. So whenever kids get their hands on alcohol, they just fucking go crazy. I'm sure.
You know when I got drunk the first time, right? 13.
13. Wow.
Yeah, it's normal here. Like, so like in Denmark, when you turn 13, you have like your confirmation where you accept Jesus Christ into your life. It's pretty much what it is, because you can't do that when you're a baby, right?
Right. You
and
also
then
get
like,
drunk in the same year.
And then you get drunk. Like you just get hammered.
So my friends also got drunk at 13, but they had bad parents.
Just a boss,
if you say.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
It's also different if it's with family and it's controlled. And it's like, oh, you get a few beers and you like feel drunk for the first time. It's not like this. Like,
it's really.
Let's do 13 shots for the 15 years.
Come on, son.
Once you turn like 15 or 16, that's when you go ham.
You're 13 now. Put some hair on your chest. Oh man.
And you don't even have hair on your balls yet. This event is so bad, man.
Dude, I don't know why there's like a 30-second window between.
It's like if Blizzard were gamers, man, they would realize this needs to be sped up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go in the bear! Go in the bear! Go in the bear!
They're good at pretending though. Right?
Jalen Johnston just subscribed. 14er. Happy holidays,
Versus every build I cast.
Hey, Jalen.
Oh boy, I'm pumping.
Happy holidays, dude. Happy 14. Thank you, man.
That's
massive support. Yeah, happy holidays, dude. I had a really good time off. It's nice to be back. We're doing MC Trash and Uber Spam until then today. That's the plan. Oh, epic.
All wrong shoulders.
So you got a chance at Fell Striker and that.
Do you need the bracers, Valley?
No, I have them.
I'll need them for this.
Need on the bracers.
Yo, that's actually, I should take this headpiece.
I guess you need them as well. DPS.
Just for fun.
You passed them.
Let me see. Does
anyone need the eye?
That's what I was gonna say. That's you, Vex?
No, if you need them, because it's totally off spec for me.
I think I'm gonna grab the eye.
Okay.
Just for fun.
Oh, Nova.
Unless somebody else needs it. Hell yeah. Somebody going down?
Toll resistant.
Oh, I probably should have AoE taunted there. That shield wall though. What happened with the MC death the other day? So it was a feral druid that just got second on threat and got deleted. Yeah, I mean, kind of foolish, to be honest. Like, if you're melee DPS, there's no reason to get second on threat and die. But, it is what it is. Feels kind of bad, but whatever. Sound like Mr. Krabs? Ah! Oh, man. Let's pull to the side.
I got so disappointed when I saw those shows.
Can you freedom the flag on the last boss or no?
No.
I don't think so, no.
I haven't tried. I
Sorry, no.
It shouldn't be an issue. Just want to range it. Just wondering, I don't think I ever tried anything.
You're gonna do the portal?
Yeah, I'll do the portal. I'll just
I think like the
GFP and
conflict
shit.
has like kind of low range, right?
Yeah, it does. And honestly, like, I'll use a GFP, and if I get
Where are you taking him?
In the middle. He just dies, I don't know, that's how I always do it.
Oh, sorry.
Congrats on your weapon if you need it.
Hey, the book. I like that.
What's the drop on that, anyways?
I would say most bosses have about a 10% chance to drop a book. So the fact that it was that book is kind of insane.
Did it need the sword, I guess?
What's in the box?
These nuts.
That's a pretty shit box, boys.
Was that good or bad? That was really bad. I don't know, dude. Wait, that's actually a good
I'm gonna go
belt.
check the book spawn. Are we doing another one?
Let me know if you see any warp pods on the way for the Rumtum tubers.
Fuck, I'm so hungry, chat. Yeah, I don't mind doing another run.
I'll do one more. I've got another thorium widget. Do we want to get the rune thread this time? You guys want to summon me back?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a summon to Bender because my backs are like so full.
So I'm gonna go grab some brilliant shards for my enchant in case we get a Librum of Focus.
If you want, you can trade me for a stack, 2 stacks of things.
Book there.
You can vendor inside? Oh, there's a vendor inside actually.
Yeah, there's a vendor. Are the summoners gonna die? Don't do it in here. Eyes can still spawn.
42 penguins.
Yeah, the eyes are actually alive right now.
What is this music, bro?
Don't forget to grab your poor man Black Label rum.
Wait, what? Why did I not get the buff, bro? Do I have to remove my buffs to get that? Is it like from a previous run?
It's the pet that can spawn it, right? Because the pet's still aggro to the... I don't remember. There's a way for these to still spawn.
So, so there's... You have to be fighting something near them, and they'll spawn voids even if you're not hostile with them. So it's like, if you hit critters near them, or if you're fighting bugs, bugs still aggro. So if you were to fight bugs near the eyes, they would spawn. Alright, no books. Oh, wait, actually. Yeah, no books.
I wonder if you could die here in a tribute run, like when you have the buff. I mean, you can die to like the ads, but you can't lose the buff somehow, right? Like, it's what I always feel. Like, what if you randomly lost this buff? Give me your war beat, sir. I just need 10 more.
Easy money, could you pop this open?
I have another one of those chests, by the way. That's why I've entered it.
And then, do you guys mind if we head over here to these warp pods? Let me try and grab a couple Rumpton tubers before the trash farm today.
Yeah, sure.
Should be like, I think there's 2 over here by these critters. We'll just have to pull the critters and I'll blizzard them.
I'm heading to Feathermoon Stronghold to get one of the quests I need to do for the Libram turn-in. I can see if there's any rune threads there. There is.
Ooh.
So Zidan's heading over to Feathermoon Stronghold, and I'll get our.
Yeah, Calamity, I was about to say, you want those. That's kind of a high roll right there.
I think I got an upgrade on this stretch. I was solo farming the ogres outside the instance, so I can also drop war beats, but it's so slow, man. They have 5% chance.
Yeah, much lower rate also.
Are there any warp pods?
Sorry.
Are there any pods that are down below us? I think they're only up here, right?
Doesn't look like there's any pods down here.
Okay. Yeah, DME is the big pod farm over there, the Rumtum Tuber.
Are those really his best boots? Wow.
I need to hit the restroom real quick, so I'm just gonna log out in front of the instance, but I'll be right back.
1 point and improved sprint. Is that what people do? So you have a 50% chance to remove it. That's actually nice. I guess as a paladin healer, you don't care if you have cloth or plate. You just equip what you have, right? Okay, we're gonna do another tribute run, I think. And get more beads. We gotta collect all the beads, guys. And then, like, I stop, I just get 5 more, assuming I get 5 this run. And I can get 5 from farming the mobs outside like an hour and a half. So. I didn't think this quest would take so long, but it's really did take minutes.
You can go farm mobs outside. You can try it. I'll wait it.
Let's be in here, chat.
Double Dragon. It's your boy A-Man.
This season is too big for just red and green. It's the holidays, and we're bringing all of the color. Oh, you could do it like this. This is lit. What's up, snow people? All of the color, all of the gifts. Happy holidays from Old Navy.
Double Dragon. It's your boy A-Man's back with some new heat for y'all today.
You heard what she said.
How many episodes of this is total?
9.
Damn, I'm about to end this soon.
Sad, man. This stuff fire, man. I love
it.
Arcane.
Just started. I just feel like it just started. I don't feel like it. I feel like we still at the beginning.
Yeah, but they gave us a lot. We went through a time skip.
Yeah, I just feel like it's still developing. Like, but hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm all here for it.
Yeah, we we left off with Vi in the underground.
Mm-hmm.
He took Jace, old school. What's her name? Bling. I don't think I'm shipping them, even though he going crazy on the black girl. But
you shipping who?
Jace and the girl who can shoot, the rifle girl.
I think she might go with Vi. I'm shipping them too.
That's possible. She went in there to the other room with the girl.
I'm shipping them too.
That's possible. He went in there to the other room with the girl.
Yeah. And it made Vi was surprised, like, oh, so we doing this.
And Vi calling her cupcake. And I'm like, hey, go crazy, go crazy. How many times you gonna do that?
Trying to tell people what's going on.
Well, yeah, so, hey, Vi fought girl with the arm. Forgot her name. The trader girl.
Vi just got Captain American strength.
Yeah. I remember when she lost her arm when she was knocking Silco out the way.
Yeah, she pushed him out.
Yeah, now
all of that.
She got freaking what's his name?
No.
Captain
Silco?
Captain America.
Oh, you talking about the Russian Soviet guy? Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. What's his name?
I don't remember. Bucky?
Bucky.
Yeah.
She got that Bucky. Good shit, isn't it?
I don't like her. I don't like her character. I want her to die. Hurry up. Get out of here.
I want to see Echo. I want to see
Yeah, I want to see Echo.
I want to see Vi and finally meet Jinx.
That's gonna be crazy.
Or Powder. And yeah. Because they know Vi is here now.
Everybody else dead. So can't go see nobody else.
Yeah.
They got mopped.
Yep. That's crazy.
Messed up, man.
Crazy, but I'm enjoying it, man. I'm ready to get to it though. See what's gonna happen.
Let's run it up. I tried to skip this. I hate seeing this part. I don't know what it is. When they put the disc in there.
Oh.
Dirty water. What's a flashback when he was little?
That's Victor?
Mm-hmm. This guy look like a female Tarzan. He built that small, bro. I'll be feeling stupid sometimes.
He always had the cane? Oh yeah, because he was laying down in the bed. Doctor said he ain't had that much time left.
Mm-hmm. He moving with that little leg though.
What? What are you doing?
What?
You funny, G.
What I do?
You funny, G.
If that boat would have been gone in my eyes, I would have lost. I would say I lost the boat.
Right. They look like that stuff.
The purple stuff. It's like Lilo and Stitch Mama. I mean Lilo Mama. No, Stitch Mama.
Mm. That was easy.
No, just stranger danger.
From the Undercity. Let's do like 300 something. Dang! They got the quotes in this mug. Was that an egg?
Oh, she was cooking.
With rocks?
Listen, I'm sorry for disappearing last night.
Duty calls.
Ain't she mad? Hit it and dipped, huh?
Oh, you can't be bad no more. He think he's slick.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm saying. I can't believe.
Laying it on thick, huh?
We can't change what fate has in store for us, but we don't have to face it alone.
You trying to get some blue time? It's still alive?
He finna try to like go out of his way to accomplish something before he mop.
Try to extend his life.
Somebody cleaned that up. He about to save himself. Yeah.
She even old enough to drink?
Who are they? Why wasn't I invited to the party?
I don't know. They got in a fight with Savika. Did a number on her.
Oh, he telling about Vi now.
Great, Chuck. Here, for your troubles.
She didn't even give him nothing. Oh, bad butt.
Troll. It ain't the same cup the Vanderpool, bruh.
Oh yeah, she is injured. I forgot. You tried to go in there thinking you was tough.
What?
These sisters are slow. Is that? That gotta be Echo.
Yeah, that gotta be.
Was that Jinx with them too?
I didn't see her. Oh, she about to get the truth. Dang. Hey, she smacked the crap out of it. She's bringing up the past.
Good for our cause as you were for your family. Jinx.
Dang! What is she capping?
10 out of 10, tits.
About time Daddy joined us.
I wonder where he was at.
Busy. Little Ren here saw me in.
He didn't teach his daughter right.
Oh, shoot.
She was about your age. Her father went on a long
In front of his daughter.
Everyone makes mistakes, right?
Sickle got the drip now.
He Patty.
Oh, so sorry. Accidents happen.
That's what you get for opening the door for strangers.
True.
It responds to organic matter. Incredible. It could be the key to augmenting physiology, extending life, curing you.
Then it dies. Damn.
We'll solve this. There may not be time. I can feel.
Hey.
I'll have Sky bring Heimer to you. There's something that can help. We'll do what we do best.
I hope they can figure it out, man.
Topsiders don't want to think about winding up.
It's a bunch of Smeagol's in here. Wasn't that dude with the glasses the dude from the beginning? I don't know.
Man, is there any way she can get healed immediately?
This punk rock attitude is like so cliche.
It's groundbreaking. What's most exciting is that it reacts to biological matter.
Uh-oh.
You must destroy it. What? I've seen nations destroyed by a single seed, and it looked exactly like this.
Professor, this could save Victor's life.
Damn.
Something's different. You've changed. What did you do?
What do you mean, Professor?
I will have it destroyed one way or another.
We'll see if the council.
He wants to smoke. Damn.
Think the old man still alive from his past?
He probably about to take it to him.
Echo might have something to heal her, bro. Oh!
I think that's the old man from the beginning. They gotta be him. Yeah.
Oh, you talking about with the gambling at the table? I mean, he
When
was
they
at the
was
table?
doing that deal at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good eye.
Someone else.
No.
She makes potions. Helps people heal.
Dang, man. Dangerous. No, don't give her your gun.
She made that quick as hell. No! They got that purple stuff in there.
Yeah. Hey, she gave up her gun.
Aw, man.
I saw Caitlin Kiriman had a prisoner released on your order. Is there anything I can assist with?
No, we've got it covered.
You ain't even know.
We have lost our way. We can be one again. It will take vigilance. We must hold each other accountable.
This man be trying to keep everybody together.
Shimmer is rampant in the Undercity. Attacks at the Hex Gates and in the Academy Square. Enforcers fear to set foot in the lanes. All under your watch.
Dang, he going in hard.
Sorry, but let me ask you this. What's your plan?
quella face, mi ciudad si lea. Quanto che balles te matan si bajo quello che old fashion Bombay, mi sorralo brea. Traficantes bay, disparándoles. Crackback y lo trague tu puta mujer. Coger y vender, no es por ofender. Salimos de la nada y tú vas a morir. Charlando con mis cuervos hasta hacerme oír. Revuelve esa mierda, el barrio despierta. Tanta cocaína, mi puta está alerta. Mentes indecentes, saltando sus cuentas. Muerte sin sentido, crees lo que se inventa. Ya perdí la fe hace tiempo. A la ciudad de la furia es donde voy. Al menos sé que aún te tengo. Al menos sé que aún te tengo. Ya perdí la fe hace tiempo. A la ciudad de la furia es donde voy. Al menos sé que aún te tengo. Al menos sé que si vas a volver. Que he ido rayas y pastel. La mirada de esa zorra sigue acosándome. Siempre caminamos apagados buscando fe. Vampiros al nacer, cuervos buscándome. La voz de enero hay OGs detrás de ti. Mis bandoleros a morir, eso es así. Según mis cuervos uno cae, subirse ahí. Según mis cuervos uno salirse de ahí. Ya perdí la fe hace tiempo. A la ciudad de la furia es donde voy. Al menos sé que aún te tengo. Al menos sé que aún te tengo. Ya perdí la fe hace tiempo. A la ciudad de la furia es donde voy. Al menos sé que aún te tengo. Al menos sé que si vas a volver. Ya perdí la fe hace tiempo. A la ciudad de la furia es donde voy. Al menos sé que aún te tengo. Cuervos.
Y ahora me ven pasar, voy por la ciudad, quemándote esa mierda que te hace olvidar. No me puedo acostar, tanto que dar. Me llamo a tu aroma, tengo que contestar. Yeah. 4 noches que no puedo dormir. Son 4 noches que estoy bebiendo aquí. Son 4 noches esperando por ti. Nadie lo sabe, nadie lo sabe. Sé que no ves todo lo que tengo para ofrecer. Demasiado hielo para vender. Está brillando mi BBAs. Yeah, tenemos Black Label. Yeah, y mucho jarabe. Yeah, voy con la MDB. Todo el party está buscándome. Yeah, están buscándome. Saben que me encuentran cerca del amanecer. Yo quería amarla pero no lo supo ver. Caigo en tus mentiras pero por última vez. Entonces voy, me bajo del avión, me voy para otro show. Ahí no paro, fumo hasta que sale el sol. Si ya saben quién soy, me gritan CRO. Siempre soy por el barrio, barrio G. Solo por mis G's. Todas las esquinas están buscando medicina. Ya grité mi negro cuando me vaya a morir. Que siga la fiesta que yo no me voy a ir. Y ahora me ven pasar, voy por la ciudad, quemando de esa mierda que te hace olvidar. No me puedo acostar, tanto que dar. Me llama tu aroma, tengo que contestar. Y ahora me ven pasar, voy por la ciudad, quemando de esa mierda que te hace olvidar. No me puedo acostar, tanto que dar. Me llama tu aroma, tengo que contestar. Yeah. 4 noches que no puedo dormir, son 4 noches que estoy bebiendo aquí. Son 4 noches esperando por ti. Nadie lo sabe, nadie lo sabe. Mi identidad en el bar, no me acuerdo el lugar. No lo veo del todo claro, igual voy a llegar. Mi alma pide paz, no sé dónde estará. La calle me habla y yo como siempre voy a escuchar. Tantos años en esa mierda, creo que me hicieron así. Dime cuándo te faltaba, quiénes estaban ahí. Chica, yo no sé por qué aún sigo yendo detrás de ti. Tú solo reza por mí, ya me hundí. De nuevo me pierdo en tu deseo y a la nada. De nuevo me pierdo en el calor de tu frazada. Chica, ya no queda nada. Oh, no es así. Prende fuego tu mirada. Oh, no es así. Y te sigo esperando triste y solo en la ciudad. Y la calle sigue gritando que no volverás. Tal vez mi alma sigue herida dentro de algún bar. Tal vez a mí en el otro lado se me encontrará. Y te sigo esperando triste y solo en la ciudad. Y la calle sigue gritando que no volverás. Tal vez mi alma sigue herida dentro de algún bar. Tal vez a mí en el otro lado se me encontrará. La calle me habla y yo no puedo decirle que no. Las pulsaciones se me calman cuando soy con vos. Yo que soy un chico vacío con tanta pasión. Yo que siempre he sido tan frío y con tanta ambición. Puedo sentir ese calor cortándome otra vez las alas, perdiéndome en lo oscuro y puro de la madrugada. Chica, mis luces se apagan. Oh, no es así. Quise mirarlo de otra forma, pero ya no había nada. Y vuelvo a caer de nuevo dentro de tu mente. Ya no significa nada si no estás presente. Yo canto para la calle, pa' toda mi gente, pa' los que lo sienten, pa' mis delincuentes. Y te sigo esperando triste y solo en la ciudad. Y la calle sigue gritando que no volverás. Tal vez mi alma sigue herida dentro de algún bar. Tal vez a mí en el otro lado se me encontrará. Y te sigo esperando triste y solo en la ciudad. Y la calle sigue gritando que no volverás. Tal vez mi alma sigue herida dentro de algún bar. Tal vez a mí en el otro lado se me encontrará. Chico, yo tengo el nivel, ellos no me pueden ver. Salgo después.
Creo que por más de que intenten bajarlo ya no se puede. Esos giles que hablan mierda seguro se esconden.
What I believe in can't be contained.
Spider-Man No Way Home has exploded into theaters and smashed box office records. The way it did that was by promising to deliver Tobey Maguire Spider-Man villains as well as Andrew Garfield Spider-Man villains in Tom Holland's universe for one massive villain showdown. So today we're going to stop and rank all 17 main Spider-Man and Venom villains from the worst to the best. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your ranking of all 17 Spider-Man and Venom villains. My list isn't the right list, it's just my list, and I would love to see yours. This video does contain spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home, so if you haven't seen No Way Home, What are you doing watching this video? Head to the theater, go watch that movie, then come and join the conversation in the comment section of this video. I only included the main villains because some of these movies include classic villains just as henchmen like Tinkerer, Shocker, but there's no arc development. They're just kind of there, so I didn't include them in this list. And let's get started. In last place, the Rhino. Now, clearly they intended to use this character more in future films. They had a Sinister Six movie plan, therefore they cast a great actor in Paul Giamatti. But what we actually got in this film was one of the most bizarre, over-the-top, cartoonish performances I have ever seen in a comic book movie. He's just driving around, shouting at the top of his lungs, absolute nonsense.
Wow, that was weird.
Throughout all of his time in this movie, there's no backstory, there's no explanation for his behavior. It's just this guy appears, just hopped up out of his mind on cocaine or something, shouting. He's not dangerous. He's played for a little bit for laughs because like Spider-Man pulls his pants down. And so he's just kind of there. And then he bookends the film in a big gigantic robot suit that maybe would have been a fun place to take things, but we never really even got to see that. So all we get is this bizarrely cartoonish version of the character with a bunch of shouting with him going, the spider is coming at me, no way around. Which I don't even know what I just said, and I don't know what he said in the movie either. Number 16, Venom from Spider-Man 3. Now, Sam Raimi has openly stated that he didn't want to include the character and doesn't really understand how he works, but the producers insisted that they include him. And I think that's what you see on screen. A director that doesn't connect with the character, shoving him in just because he's supposed to. Therefore, from the casting to the visualization, all of it just feels off. Right off the bat, Topher Grace is a very strange pick for Eddie Brock. Then, when Eddie Brock becomes Venom, instead of focusing in on the monster that's a foe to Spider-Man, they keep pausing to remove the mask to show that, hey, look, it's Topher Grace under there.
Not a great plan.
And so you just have this weird look of Topher Grace's head on top of a CGI body, making jokes about his Spidey sense, in which case they take a great villain and use him only at the very end of the film in a very lackluster way. And if you even factor in the symbiote suit, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, that's where this thing just gets laughably bad. Now take on this. In the way that they decided to bring this to the big screen. Next up, Green Goblin from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now this is a frustrating one because I think there could have been a fantastic version of this character where you have a Harry Osborn dealing with the fact that he has a disease that's going to kill him, that drives him to experiment on himself, that turns him into a monster that causes him to cause incredible pain to the person that he cares about the most. On paper, that sounds fantastic, but because it was in a movie with too many other characters, too many other things going on, it's not developed enough, and so it never fully made sense as to why Harry felt such an urgent need to cure himself immediately. It's so much so that he experiments on himself, turns himself into a monster, and then in the movie you're watching, we have a complete third act with Electro, and then they seem like they just tack on Green Goblin just showing up out of nowhere, because to be comic accurate, Green Goblin has to be the one that kills Gwen Stacy. And while as tragic as that sequence is, heartbreaking and well-directed, the specific part once she starts falling, Green Goblin as a character is an afterthought in it. He just happens to be there, and that's the frustration. It's not like he was this looming villain causing dread, someone that Spider-Man was trying to stop. No, he just swoops in at the last minute to do the thing that he needs to do to get to the plot point that they want to include in this movie. And that's not what makes for a great villain. Coming in at number 14, the Sandman from Spider-Man 3, as well as Spider-Man No Way Home. And this to me just feels like a villain where they tried to throw a little bit too much in with what was going on with the character, and it just makes for a characterization with a lack of clarity in his motivations. At his core, his goal is to just try and help his sick daughter that he just wants to get back to. But because they also want to tie him into Uncle Ben's death, and then they tie him into the third act where he's partnering up with Venom, his actions get very unclear and confusing as to why exactly he's doing certain things at certain points in time. Likewise, when you get into No Way Home, he's equally kind of confusing in exactly which side he's on, who he's trying to partner with. He's like, hey, Peter, can I help you out? And then later on, he's kind of partnering up with villains that have opposite goals, though trying to do something different in the moment. And so I just think they always struggle to find clarity in the characterization. And so he just has a muddled arc throughout each of his appearances. Then we have Riot Carlton Drake from Venom. To me, this guy was just kind of a boilerplate, ends justifies the means billionaire that wants to do a bunch of experiments.
Killing people.
Eddie,
They never got
we're
to
done.
work out.
Thank you very much.
We're not finished.
Yes, you are, Mr. Brock.
And then gets the Riot symbiote on him. And neither one of the two parts were all that interesting. They're fine. Like, I don't think Carlton Drake is awful or embarrassing. And it's kind of fun to see Venom and Riot fighting at the end of the film. But Carlton Drake is just generically one of those guys in one of these movies. There's nothing distinct or interesting about the characterization. He's just kind of there filling that role of the guy that pushes all this stuff forward with all of his experimentation. And then Riot is in the entire movie. Riot shows up in the film before Venom does, but he's transferring from like old lady to kid and then doesn't get to Carlton Drake until there's like 20 minutes left in the film, in which case that only happens really to set up the final boss fight. And so there's just not a ton there for intrigue, though there's some fun moments, and it's not embarrassing. Though it is bizarre that they decided to do a final fight with a character that's black, a character that's dark gray on a dark setting, and then they turn blobs into each other, where it's very unclear exactly what you're looking at.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Number 12, Shriek from Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Now, this one's a little bit frustrating for me because in the opening prologue to the film with Shriek and Cletus when they were young, I feel like they set up her character to have a little bit more nuance to her, a bit of kind of a tragic story of this character that's been mistreated by the system and is being abused and taken somewhere against her will. And then when she comes back into the story as an adult, they play her just as a villain that wants to do evil, and it just kind of turns into this Bonnie and Clyde road trip to get to their wedding.
Baby, I got for you what you want most.
The cop?
The cop.
Where they're killing people all along the way, and Carnage doesn't see the world the same way as she does, and therefore there's the tension between Carnage and Cletus because of that. But they just don't really do much with her and develop her beyond that opening scene that's a little bit interesting, that just sets up the Bonnie and Clyde romance thing. So I just wish they'd continued that and given her a more sympathetic journey than just, look, people are mean to her at the beginning, but she is super evil when she's an adult. Number 11, Dr. Olivia Octavius from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, she's not the most menacing villain on this list.
What did you say your name was?
Dr. Olivia Octavius.
But she is a most menacing villain on this list.
What did you say your name was?
Dr. Olivia Octavius.
But she is a nice little addition and kind of charming in the performance and the portrayal, actually from Agatha Harkness herself, Catherine Hahn. So what was fun about this one is that she's introduced into the film before you realize that she's going to be Dr. Octopus. So she's presented as just a scientist doctor that's on our side and someone that will be helpful. Therefore, it's when revealed that she's actually this universe's Dr. Octopus. It's a fun little twist. She's a fun addition to the film. Bringing us into the top 10, the Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, I think this is a good enough villain whose motivation to experiment on himself makes sense in the context of the film and is developed properly. But the actual characterization is a bit on the dull side. There's not much about him that stands out when it comes to his personality or anything like that. He's just the one you remember as the Lizard, the guy that was missing an arm that turns into a lizard. But there's nothing about him that pops, stands out besides that. And his specific villain plot line leading into the third act just feels like they were trying to force and contrive some sort of citywide threat to kind of escalate things to this higher level. But even as you move into the third act of this film, what you care about is Gwen's dad. You don't care about all this city stuff that's going on. You care about the individual characters because that's what Mark Webb was good at. And so I think they just tried to create this big threat, and that's just not what people cared about in the film with this character. And so he's okay. He's good enough. And I think that's even the problem you get when he shows back up in No Way Home. He's just not very interesting in the first place, so he's just kind of the talking dinosaur lizard in that film that cracks some jokes that feel inconsistent with what his character was in The Amazing Spider-Man. Next up, Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, as well as Spider-Man No Way Home. And to me, this is one of the characters that was significantly improved by their appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2, he kind of followed this villain template that's been used many times before. Batman Forever, The Incredibles with Syndrome, Iron Man 3 with Killian. I've never really been a big fan of this particular arc where you have this nerdy character that looks up to the hero, where eventually they're put down by the hero. So when they gain superpowers, they have scorn for the hero because of that put down that happened to them. I just don't buy into it. I don't find it very compelling. And so here it feels very exaggerated with when they take Jamie Foxx, who is a very good looking man, and they try and give him a comb over and these exaggerated glasses. It just rings hollow when you hire an actor where you have to try that hard to make them look nerdy and unattractive. And then kind of as you move into the third act, it's unclear exactly what's driving his villainous motives. So the improvement, I think, comes in Spider-Man No Way Home, where you transport him into this other universe where he feels access to this other power. But the tension that he keeps feeling is both that draw for power, but also people recognize him and know who he is as Electro. And I think that's much clearer in No Way Home. Even though that movie has even more villains, they clarify exactly what's driving him to continue down the villain path. And also not making him such a cartoon character when he's in human flesh helped a lot by making him, I don't know why all of a sudden he's cool Jamie Foxx in the MC universe, but he's cool Jamie Foxx, and it actually improved the character for me. Number 8, Carnage, Cletus Cassidy from Venom, Let There Be Carnage. This is another frustrating one because I enjoyed Carnage in this movie, loved Woody Harrelson as the casting. He just does crazy so well.
There's gonna be carnage.
But it's also one of those ones where you're like, you wanted more than just this 90-minute movie with this one story with the character, and you wanted even more carnage from him. One of the things that works here is that they really spend a lot of time showing you Cletus and why he's crazy, his origin story, his troubled childhood, the fact that Eddie didn't fully understand him, didn't understand what he was trying to communicate, and all the pain, hurt, and all of that.
I wanted your friendship. I'm sorry, Cletus.
And then when you put symbiote on this guy who's crazy on the first part, you get this insane person. It's interesting that they put in kind of this Bonnie and Clyde romance side to it. I just wish we got more. I don't think they should have killed him off. I think they should have left the room open or left more room for him to come back to have more adventures. Or don't just make this a 90-minute roller coaster ride. Tell a big, epic Carnage story with it. So I dug it. I just wish we could have gotten more of it. Then we have Mysterio, yet another one that's very frustrating for me because Jake Gyllenhaal is a ton of fun in the role. He can play the charismatic fake superhero.
I actually really like him. Can I be completely honest with you? Please. They look really stupid.
He can deliver the hammy speeches.
See, that wasn't so hard.
And then he can be the villain, manipulating everything going on. He's so good in the part, in the role. And then the illusion sequences are just fantastic. In particular, the first one, just an amazing little sequence that they created. But even at the end, very cool stuff. The problem here ties into the big problem with the film is that the script itself doesn't really add up. So once again, for the 7th time in the MCU, we get a villain motivated by scorn for Tony Stark, who wronged them in the past. One more time. So it just feels very familiar that that's his motivation. From there, what exactly is his goal here? He wants to become the world's greatest superhero by being a fake superhero and saving the world from non-existent threats. So he'll be in a position where when real threats show up, what will he do? Like, where exactly is he going with this? Like, what's the end goal in all of this? And so it's one of those ones where they got the characterization, the visuals right, the casting right, but they didn't come up with a good actual motivation arc and villain scheme for what could have been a great villain. Number 6, the new Green Goblin from Spider-Man 3. Now, the actual execution of some of the specifics of this arc in Spider-Man 3, I think are a little bit questionable, but the general arc that they gave Harry across the trilogy of Sam Raimi films, I think is quite satisfying and ends on a great note that I do think works, even though the movie as a whole doesn't. And so, essentially, by creating this intricate set of relationships and complicated events, where Peter Parker was involved in the death of Harry's dad, it creates a bit of a misunderstanding, but there's enough truth to it that creates a motivation for Harry to have a deep, dangerous disdain for Peter Parker. And then once he learns who Spider-Man really is, creates an incredible threat in a unique way from other villains. Harry's not out to hurt anyone except Peter Parker Spider-Man. And that's interesting as a threat and as an arc of seeing this friendship change, develop, to see Harry being so driven by jealousy, anger, vengeance, bitterness by the time you get to the third film, so much so that when you move into the third act and you have Peter going to him saying, I need your help to save MJ. I know you care about her. You have a full arc for Harry of the friend that turns bitter, that turns into a villain, that has redemption in the end as a hero. That's a cool arc. Certainly we could pause in the middle and talk about some things about the new Green Goblin that aren't so good. But I think overall, this is a really good journey that they took Harry on. And one of the things that actually elevates Spider-Man 3 for me higher than some people probably give it credit for. In fifth place, Kingpin from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now this is an interesting one because while Kingpin is this dangerous threat to the city in many different senses, the thing that he's actually trying to do in this film is get his family back. They've died because of his actions, and instead of owning that and accepting responsibility for his part in their death, he instead decides to do dangerous experimentation to try and pull them and steal them from a different universe to get them back in that sense. In which case, that feels like a very complete worldview and character while not needing a ton of time to flesh it out. He is someone ruthless that will do anything to get what he wants, including stealing people from the multiverse to do it and experimenting with technology that could have dire consequences. And so in just that simple motivation that they give him, you immediately understand who he is and what he values.
That's me, you know me.
We're leaving now.
Don't go. Stay with me.
Beyond that, he's a villain so dangerous that they actually allow him to kill the main universe in this film's Spider-Man, Peter Parker. That is a villain that is an actual dangerous threat. He will ruthlessly kill Spider-Man. He will ruthlessly kill one of his own main henchmen to try and get what he wants. That's when you know you have a great villain. He doesn't have the most screen time or like a complete of arcs, but as a villain, he's threatening and compelling. In fourth place, the Prowler from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, this is a character who's quite different from Kingpin. His boss, Spider-Man, he will ruthlessly kill one of his own main henchmen to try and get what he wants. That's when you know you have a great villain. He doesn't have the most screen time or like a complete of arcs, but as a villain, he's threatening and compelling. In fourth place, the Prowler from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, this is our heroes on the journey that they're on, and that's what makes him interesting. We see the Prowler do a bunch of things and be okay with a bunch of very evil stuff, including the murder of Peter Parker. But then as soon as he realizes that he's fighting his own nephew, he softens. He's not a sociopath. He's kind of, and he doesn't have some. Comment section, share your ranking of all 17 Spider-Man and Venom main villains, and you can throw in some of the other side characters if you would like to. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I've done a ton of other Spider-Man content